was any Muslim, I would say my country, North Africa. I was as any Muslim, I was Sunni, Salafi, exactly. All my life is just school, mosque, home, and sports. So that's all the things I used to do. And I was before I was Muslim. I was when I was young. I was in this Islamic Scout, and I was like following exactly. I wasn't following because I wasn't aware of it exactly, but I was following the Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt. What they call them, the Muslim Brotherhood. Was so yeah, we followed them. Try to learn about Islam, how to be good Muslim, how to worship, and I stayed with them a few years. Every summer we go somewhere, camping and stuff like that. As Islamic, proper Islamic group, what do you say? And one day I found out like they're more interested in politics. They just want to get into politics, stuff like that. So I said that's not Islam, that's not what Allah wants for me. So I left them, and I was more interested in Salafi, become proper, following Prophet Muhammad properly, and following everything, become really following his hadith, become like a proper Muslim, like Salafi, what they call them now, Sunni Salafi. And I used to listen to a lot of scholars. Most of them are Egyptian, are the best scholar, the Muslim scholar. One of the most famous is Huwaini, Al-Qaradawi. Qaradawi died a few months ago. Huwaini is still alive. I used to, before that, Albani is is a big scholar. He's famous in hadith, and others, so many others. But I wasn't properly reading from books, to be honest, because they told us Muhammad is the perfect prophet, is the best man in the world. He has the best character. Why do you want to search? That's it. So you know everything about Muhammad. He's the best man, the best ever. He's the most merciful man, and that's it. It was in my head, so that's it. It's printed in my head forever. And I said, so I didn't. The only thing I was reading exactly is the way to pray, the way to fast, be a good Muslim, have good characters like Muhammad, which they used to tell us, like he was merciful, he never lied, he never said bad words. Which is not true actually when you read Sirah. He was poor, he wasn't interested in money, just in Islam, just to please God. All his job was just to spread Islam, spread the word of God, of Allah. That's all I know about Islam. And like 3 years ago, I started reading about Islam. I said I have to start reading now. I should know more about history of Muhammad. I like history, to be honest. I like all kind of history and all the prophets, not just Muhammad, Moses, Abraham. I like to read about their history. And I said, I'll start reading about Muhammad. And I started reading, and now it's easier to read from internet. You can download PDF books. What they call the mothers of book. The best books talk about Muhammad biography, and now you can get them on PDF in Arabic. It's easy. And I start reading. I start finding terrible things, especially the wars he did. They mention about more than 70 ghazwa, of what he called ghazwa. It's like he take his army to attack other tribes or caravans. That's why I call the Ghazwa or Syria. And I found out it's all about women, about money, about That's all. I mean, that's all what they're in their head. If they say, I mean, when you read this in these books, they don't say anything about going to spread Islam or to spread, I mean, the word of Allah. Who they say they want there. They attacked these tribes. They took their women slaves, killed the men, and they returned with them and they sold them. I mean, that's all. Or they attacked these tribes. They took their women. They have sex with them. There is so many of them mentioned. That's all what they're in their head. I mean, companion of Muhammad. And Muhammad was allowed them to do that. And he brings verses of Quran saying it's okay, you can have sex with this woman, even a married woman. Was a famous story about one of his ghazawat. Forget the name. I think Ghazwat Mustaliq or Awtas, famous Awtas. Yeah, which is mentioned in the Quran, to be honest. So they took the men that were that were alive, and they come to Muhammad, his companion. They won the war, and they took the women as slaves, and they were married. Those women that were married, and their husband that were still alive, they were prisoners. And they went to Muhammad, and they say, yeah, can we have sex with them? But the problem is they're still married. And Muhammad said, yeah, it's okay. And he brought a verse of Quran, allow them to have sex with this. I mean, it doesn't make you, really sick hearing that. I mean, imagine the husband watching their wife getting raped. That's the right word by these Muslims in front of them, and they were still alive. After that, they killed them, right? Because there was no prisoners. Muhammad didn't take prisoners. The only one time he took prisoners was the first battle, what they call Battle Badr. And after that, he never took prisoners. And that's when you read the Sirah, they don't mention releasing any prisoners after that, or converting them to Islam, just killing them, taking their wives, children, selling them. What he did to the Jewish tribes in Medina, he exterminated the whole tribe, Banu Qurayza, and they took the women and children and sold them as slaves. And they sold them. They took them to Syria and sold them there to buy more weapons and horses or other things. If that is Islam, I don't want to be part of it. There's other Ghazwa where he sent his adopted son Zayd ibn Thabit to Midian. It's a faraway place in. Now it belongs to Saudi Arabia, but before that it was like part of Jordan. It's close to the Red Sea. It took them 3 weeks to reach that place and 3 weeks to return in the desert, imagine. And when they returned, they don't mention what happened exactly there, but they returned with the women and children, slaves, so that they killed all the men, definitely. Or they ran away. And when they returned to Medina, they start selling them separately. And the children start screaming, the women start screaming, because if you take children from his mother, obviously he's gonna start screaming. And Muhammad heard the screaming, and he was in his house when the mosque that is separate, and he come out and he said, "What's going on?" And they told Zayd ibn Thabit told him, "We're selling the children and separately. The women and children separately." And he told them, "No, sell them together." Why you go all the way to Midian, this place, this famous place, is mentioned in the Bible, where Moses spent 40 years there. These people they were minding their business. They didn't have anything to do with the Muslim, the Arab. And that happened before Muhammad conquered Mecca, and Ta'if after that. So Mecca is close to him, and he wants to Midian, send his army to Midian to take this. He started mentioning all the Ghazawat, it's terrible. It's all about sex, about raping women, that's it. And there's also a story about a woman, it's called Qurfa, and he sent his son he was sending his son a lot, Zayd ibn Thabit. Every time he's there, he's sending. And he went there, and for just saying a poetry, that woman is an old woman, over 90 years, they say. She was the chief of her tribe. She was a really respected woman. When you read the Sirat ibn Hisham or Sirah al-Halabiyya or other, when they have Ibn Kathir or Tabari, she was a really respected woman, and she just said poetry against Muhammad because he was attacking caravans or attacking other tribes, and she wasn't happy with that. So Muhammad sent his adopted son to her. They attacked them, they killed the man, and what he did to this old woman, he split the woman in two. He tied her legs to two camels or horses, I think, and he split the woman in. I mean, you can't even think about it. And when he returned to Medina and he told Muhammad what he did, Muhammad was proud of him. That's in Sirah ibn Hisham. How can Prophet sent by Allah be proud of something? And there's other story. There's so many. Sent one of these companions to a woman. She was in Medina, and she said poetry as well against Muhammad. She said just poetry. I mean, it's like you're writing now in a newspaper. It's the same thing. That's why if you say something wrong about Muhammad, they kill you. That's that's why he did. That's Sunnah. That's what Muhammad did. So you can't. So he sent one of his companions to her, and she was sleeping. She had children around, and she had some few children and a baby. He was breastfeeding, and he stabbed her with the sword while she was sleeping. And he went to Muhammad, and he felt sorry because he felt like he did something wrong. But Muhammad told him, "That's okay. Two goats don't butt their heads about her." I mean, how come Prophet say that? I mean, there's other things. He used to say some bad words like, if there's hadith, famous hadith, Sahih, no one can deny it. You can't even, it's Sahih, mentioned by so many, Bukhari, Muslim, Ahmed. He said, if anyone is proud of his lineage, tell him to go and bite the penis of his father. A prophet say that. What kind of prophet he say that? And when he tried to find out the explanation, they try to twist the word. No, Muhammad didn't name that. The word is clear. I mean, you have to be, idiot if you don't understand it. So we don't mention the war when he died, what happened after him, all this war between Muslim and Muslim, all this killing, so many wars, hundreds of thousands died. Until now they're still fighting Sunnah and Shia for something we don't, because God didn't explain properly in the Quran. Even God didn't explain how the Muslim, how they choose their leaders, all these problems that happen after Muhammad. And you see, like, you've got so many different Islam now. Even Muhammad said, my nation's going to be split in 70, all of them in hellfire, only one. So probably Muslim, most of them, they're going to hellfire, probably. So we don't know which one to go to paradise. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's the story of Muhammad. If Muslim, they say, no, that's not true, Muhammad didn't do that. What do you believe now? That's the problem. If you don't believe this historian who brought this all Ghazawat Muhammad is the same people who explain the Quran, it's the same people who explain the Hadith. Ibn Hajar Asqalani, Shamsuddin al-Dhahabi, al-Tabari, Ibn Kathir. Oh, this is the people, they were explaining the Quran, explaining Hadith, at the same time they were historian, I'm telling you. So they can't lie. So that's Islam. So it's all about slave. Well, the problem, they lie to you and they say, no, Islam, you didn't come to take people as slaves or sell them back. But when you read Sirah, that's exactly what they were doing. What happened, during the Khilafah, Abbasi, Umayyad, we have in North Africa. It's unbelievable. They say one of the Khalifa, his name Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, well, that's not too far from Muhammad, probably 40 years. He had 4,000 slaves in his castles in Syria. 4,000 women. All these women come from Africa, from North Africa, and from other countries, and from Spain, from 4,000. I mean, that's the problem. And they will talk. I mean, when you read it, history, Ibn Kathir, when they mention how many slaves they took from North Africa because they were beautiful women, and you have to understand that Muslims never went to Africa. No, they never went to South Africa because they didn't care about this. So you know exactly what's the object. I mean, they were behind. I mean, only women and money. That's all. That's what making me leave Islam. And more I read, more I get disgusted. When I left Islam, actually, I was atheist, completely atheist. I didn't believe in anything. I had problem. I mean, actually, I had depression, and I had even I thought about suicide many times, because I mean, when I left Islam, it's like something big. I took it from my. I mean, Islam is like part of me, like Allah and Muhammad is something I grew up with it and believing in it. When I found that it's not true, because it can't be God, it can't be Allah who orders Prophet to do all this. I didn't mention, I just mentioned 1% of Muhammad did. If I mention all the things, I mean, it's terrible. You get disgusted when you start reading. I said, enough. I don't want to know anything anymore about Islam. But just curiosity makes you. So yeah. So I was atheist, and I probably lasted for a year. I can't remember. I don't remember exactly. And I felt like completely. I mean, I even left the job for 2 months. I didn't stop working for 2 months. I couldn't keep working. I was angry all the time, and it took me time. Yeah, and after that, there was a church not far from me, and started reading about Moses and Jesus, and started reading about the Bible. Is it true or not? And I found good things, really good things in the Bible about Jesus. And at the same time, I found a lot of things Muhammad stole from the Bible. So, and I found it in the Quran. So that makes sense. And I said, yeah. I mean, if you don't believe in divine, if you don't worship the divine, you're definitely gonna worship something else. So I don't want to worship something else. So that's why I started going to church, and I started learning more and more about Jesus, and yeah, that's the whole story.